Hello, good afternoon, happy Saturday. I don't know if it's working. I put something in the chat and I think I have a viewer, so if you're here, say hi, say hello, let me know it's working, let me know what the sound's like. It looks like it's picking up my microphone and the music in my ears, so hopefully everything's balanced. And yeah, so I hope you've all had a lovely weekend so far. I don't know about you, I was watching the coronation this morning, having a rather good natter and a good personal commentary with some of my friends in Discord. That was really fun. But I just thought, since that's all over and there's not much going on this afternoon, I think there's some films on TV that I might just come and colour for a couple of hours and enjoy some music and some chatting. Oh, let's turn this light on. You can't really see it, but ta-da. Hey Paul, thank you so much. I'm glad it's good. I can't hear or see anything, so I really appreciate you coming in to tell me. I can kind of see what my stream should look like, but I can't hear what you should hear. So yes, I thought I would come on. I haven't got coffee today, I've actually got water. How good am I? I was feeling a bit coffeeed out. I had several teas and coffees this morning. So yeah, I haven't even decided what picture we're going to do. This is where we got to last time, and I don't feel like I want to finish it. That sounds really bad, doesn't it? I do this all the time in my colouring books. But I don't want to spend hours just doing a background. Backgrounds aren't fun. Backgrounds are not for streams. So let's find one that we can do that doesn't really have a background, maybe. I can just do some cool colouring. I know, I'm a traitor. I've gone with water. How bad is that? But I'm quite warm and I don't want to take my jumper off because it's my Harry Potter jumper. I don't know, you can't see because of the microphone. But I've got my Harry Potter jumper on from the Harry Potter shop in St Pancras, King's Cross, at platform 9 3/4. Well, at the shop that's meant to be at platform 9 3/4, but isn't actually at platform 9 3/4 because they had to move it because everyone kept going to 9 3/4 to take photos with the trolley thing. So they've moved the trolley thing next to the shop, which isn't even on any of the platforms. But it was really cool, and I like the shop, and I got some badges because I'm a Hufflepuff. So I have a Hufflepuff badge and a 9 3/4 badge. I don't know what to colour today. Maybe we'll do this lady. I know she's got a background. Hello, Mel. I also painted my nails during the coronation. It got to near the end and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to do something. And I painted my nails, especially for the stream, pretty much. Hopefully Steve will pop in as well. He's upstairs not feeling too well. So he can kind of tune in if he's not going to sleep. Oh, he's just been in bed all day. Well, since he got back from work, he went to work and then he had to leave because he was feeling poorly. Okay, so we're going to do this lovely lady. Was there a coronation? Was there? Really? It wasn't on every channel or anything. Oh no, I just got water on here. Maybe that's why I shouldn't drink water, because it's a danger to the colouring. Oh, where can't I work now because it's wet? Oh, I'm going to choose a different picture now because I got her wet and I'm not going to drink any more water. I forgot I did that one as well. This is the fun part, isn't it? I should have done this before I came on stream. This is a really beautiful example, actually, of one of the pictures that's in the book and what we could kind of do with it. Go a bit more dark and realistic. Not in your house. Did you not watch it at all? I tend to watch it for the historical side of things. So for the like the clothes, like the historical clothes, the crowns, the jewels, the thrones, all the pretty dresses that people wear. I'm just like, oh, what are they wearing? That looks nice. Oh, they look well. And for the little kids, they're just, oh, they're so cute. Yeah, I do the same. Just heard something go do-do-do, and I don't know what it was, and I'm hoping it wasn't anything important. Oh, I didn't want to change. Maybe we'll do this hat. Maybe we'll do a witchy hat. I already want to colour this band purple. That's already in my head. Oh, that's what went do-do-do. The camera. Why did it do that? Let's restart it. Hopefully it won't keep doing that. It did it earlier. There we go. We found a hat. Make sure everything's plugged in nice and tight so it doesn't turn off again. Oh, now the music's gone off in my ears. And my headset's disconnected. And it's reconnecting. There we go. Oh, it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one. You don't have an Ariel or Sky or Virgin. Ah, that's fair. So you kind of watch the Netflix and whatever else. They do have a couple in London. Did you see all the people's crocheted hats and crowns and stuff? There was one woman that was chatting to the news lady and she crocheted this enormous crown and it was amazing. It was really cool. It was huge as well. She said it took her like 3 days or something to do it. And then they were talking to people that had been camped out since sort of 3 o'clock yesterday evening. If I keep looking over, it's because my bunny's in the kitchen and I had to kind of hand feed her. That's why I started a bit later than I wanted to. I was going to start about 3. But she wouldn't eat any of her treats that I gave her. And if rabbits don't eat for a certain period of time, they get this thing called GI stasis where their stomachs stop working and then they die. So because she wouldn't eat her treats or her dandelions or any grass or anything I gave her, I force fed her and she's not very happy about it. I really wanted to colour that one because I wanted to colour the lunar moth because I really liked there is another lunar moth one. When I did my swatches the other day, oh, that's what I forgot to bring in. I forgot to bring in. Okay, it doesn't feel too bad now. Oh, there's still wet there. When I did my swatches the other day, I really loved this colour. It is mint green. And it really is like the perfect lunar moth colour. So I think we'll just kind of carry on with that. Right, I'm going to de-face cam because then you don't have to see my head touching the desk, essentially. So what are everyone's plans for the rest of the weekend? Because it's a nice long one again. So not only do we have tomorrow, we have Monday as well, which is really rather nice. I think tomorrow I have to go and get Alfie, but I might start my scrawler sketch tonight and then do a little bit more tomorrow, because part of the reason I wanted to get colouring was to loosen up the hands, get them all loose and ready for scrawler sketching so that I do a good job. Because if I go in having not done something like this, there'll be an awful lot of errors to start with and the lines will be pants and I'll get annoyed and then it'll be a bad sketch and then I'll either do another one or I'll just give up and submit that one. Oh, she's lied down again. I don't like it when she lies down. She's not a lie down bunny. That's meant to show that they're relaxed and happy. But she tends to do that like in the back porch on the side when she's warm or relaxed and happy. So the fact that she came into the kitchen and lied under my desk and then has now gone and lied in this little birdhouse my grandparents got my son, and it just became like Buffy's little cubby hole in the kitchen. But she looks like she's tensing her tummy a bit. I think her tummy's a bit uncomfortable. So either she's eaten too much of something and she's got like wind or something and she just needs to stretch out, or her tummy's not feeling great. She did eat yesterday because I gave her some dandelions and stuff and she was happy with them, but she hasn't eaten yet today. Healthy meals. Oh, good. I was thinking then you were just being healthy for the sake of being healthy, but yes, given the amount of sweets that everyone's been eating, my bad. I'm glad you're having some healthy meals. How are the puppies doing, Paul? And how's Flossie doing after her op? I don't really even know what colours I should be using here, but I know this colour is definitely one of the like Luna Moth colours. Yeah, so I think tomorrow I'll do that, and then Monday I wanted to do some kind of decluttering and tidying because everything seems a bit, well, my lounge is very cluttered and messy. But I'm wondering what I might do is tomorrow morning tidy my room because I have a major floor drape going on. And then if my room's tidy tomorrow, then that frees me up Monday to do a bit of a lounge clean and tidy. I have to clean the fish tank a little bit and clean out the rabbit, but I might clean out the rabbit after this just so I can keep an eye on whether she's peeing and pooping and everything. Oh, bless. That's so sweet. I'm glad they're doing well. Their start was a little bit like it just sort of started to happen and then they all came along and then Flossie was poorly, so I'm glad they're all settled now. Before long they'll be running under your feet and you'll be like, damn it, bloody puppies. If at any time my camera pauses or stops, just let me know because I'll probably not remember to keep checking it. I'm going to listen out for the disconnection noise because that's obviously what happened last time. You can't really see the colour on this. I wonder if I turn off. It's a bit better, isn't it? It's quite bright in here this afternoon. In the afternoons the sun comes in the window behind me. And because it's stopped raining and the sun's come out, it's a bit bright on the desk. And these colours quite light anyway. Free roaming puppies with little teeth running around attacking your feet, getting under your feet. Mint green light. Oh, that was handy. I picked up the exact pencil colour I wanted. Build up a bit of depth. So, as some of you know, I heard it.
Hey, Pluto here.
So keep doing that.
Shout out to all you wonderful creators for coming to Upbeat for your music. Keep doing what you do and help support us artists by upgrading to Upbeat Premium now.
I'm not sure why it keeps doing that. Tiny little land sharks. Little teethy potatoes. Yeah, I swatched out all these pencils again the other day in my sketchbook to put them in number order so that when I picked one up, I would be able to find it more quickly than on the swatch sheet that comes with them. So the swatch sheet that comes with them doesn't really have, you can see my little black dots where I finished them. Oh, Bunny's disappeared. I don't know where she's gone. Doesn't really have any rhyme or reason to it. So although it's kind of in colour order, you have like these bright orange colours starting over here, but then there's like oranges over here, and you have a random yellowy gold there, which would have fitted over here, and you have a random blue there, and it's all a bit wishy-washy. But as well as that, they're in no number order whatsoever. So you have like 56, 55, then 110, 108, 59, 61, then 70s, and there's just no real order. So I swatched them out so that I could pick up a number, find it, and then see if I like the colour. And then I've gone and left that in the lounge, haven't I? So I need to cut it out my sketchbook as well and kind of make it a bit more travel friendly. I should have done it smaller really, or thought about it and turned it into like a proper little like a book or something. Hello, Mark. You did comment just now, didn't you, about hats, but I didn't actually say hello. With all you guys still eating sweetsy orders, it makes me want to make another one because they were good. And that 30% off is just like the most tempting thing in the world. I love this month for bank holidays. There's only one weekend where there's not a bank holiday, which is next weekend, and I'm actually at my mum's. So my sister absolutely loves Eurovision, and we tried to get tickets to see it in Liverpool, and we couldn't get any. So it's showing in some cinemas, and it's showing in Plymouth, where my mum and my sister live. So they've put tickets to see it in the cinema. So that's where I'll be next weekend. So there probably won't be a live next weekend because I'll be down there. I might try and do a midweek one or maybe a Monday one the week after, just to kind of make sure I'm keeping up with a bit of a quota. But yeah, so we're going to watch Eurovision in the cinema. It's a bit of a girls' night out, me, my mum, my sister. I've got some sparkly tops. I think I know I'm going to wear a sparkly top and some leather trousers to kind of be a bit extra, because you know Eurovision is completely extra. Maybe that's what I should do. Although I want to be nice to them. I didn't get the ambassadorship, but I didn't expect to at this stage in my art journey. And given my page didn't very clearly show me using the Castle Arts products very much, because obviously I use a lot of the Scrawler Box stuff. Yeah, of the people that I've seen that had got it had that their social media was quite clear that they were using Castle Arts, and they had quite a lot of followers, not like tens of thousands, but more than me. I think I've got 300 and something. So for the time being, we'll just keep using their products. We'll try not to anger them by telling them their swatch stuff isn't good enough. But yeah, what I did notice when I swatched by number, which was quite interesting, was again there wasn't a massive pattern as such of the colours. So there is to some extent, but you'll have like a load of greens on one side, and then you'll have reds, blues, blah blah blah, and then you'll end up with some more greens. And I noticed that where the next kind of colours came in, they would be sort of more pastel-y. So you'd have the pastel-y greens, the pastel-y pinks and things like that. And then there'd be a more sort of moody set, so you'd have the darker and like more earthy tones. So I think that's a bit more of the way they number them and sort them is kind of by their tones and where they all fit in. Ooh, face glitter, that's a good shout. Do you know what? I hadn't really thought about that. I'd got as far as ordering some clothes in the sale. I love in the style clothes, just for comfort and to be reasonably fashionable. They're designed for all body shapes, and you see them advertised on all body shapes. So when I see something advertised on a body shape like mine, I'm like, oh, I love that. Oh, that looks so good on her. So I have some bits from them. My favourite light blue jeans are from In The Style. They're just high-waisted, stretch, like skinny jeans. And they're the most comfortable jeans. They're like a second skin. They're amazing. I hate jeans that are uncomfortable. Having got really big thighs, it's really hard, especially if they're not stretchy enough for them to fit my legs properly and then fit my waist at the same time. But these ones are just amazing. So I've got some of their high waist jeans. What are you doing back there? She's like practically sat in the cat's water bowl. Yeah, so I've got these high waist jeans from there, and then they had this really big sale on a load of like party wear and stuff, and it was perfect because camera, why is it doing that? It didn't do it for the whole of the last stream, so that's really weird. They were selling loads of their party stuff, so I got like a top and a short dress or long top, however you want to wear it. Mine would definitely be long top, for something like £12 in total or something like that, and then plus postage. Oh my god, yeah, Liverpool's going to be insane next week. And I know like Eurovision isn't everyone's cup of tea, but anytime anything comes to a city, anything like big national, like football and things like that, rugby, anything, if it comes to a city, even if you're not into it, people tend to go out and make more of a thing out of it, don't they? So Liverpool, as it is quite a big party city, party scene. So to then add Eurovision into the mix, it's going to be absolutely chaotic. It's going to be carnage. Oh, she's removed herself from the cat's water bowl. I don't know where she's gone. She's a silly little bean. She's about 6 now. I got her before I met Steve. I met Steve 5 years ago. Yeah, so she's got to be about 6 now. Which rabbits, especially indoor rabbits, live anywhere from between sort of 6 to 12 years. The only thing she doesn't have, which I think would potentially lengthen her life a bit, is a buddy. She came to me as a lone bun, and although the cat, the ginger one, tries to play with her a little bit, not in a I'm gonna eat you way, in a I like you, my friend way, she doesn't have like a companion bun, and she's a bit old really now to try and do that for her. So I think the likelihood of her making it to 12 is fairly slim, and if she doesn't bloody start eating properly, she's barely going to make it to Monday at this rate, which stresses me out a little bit because she's my bunny, and the last thing I want is for my son to come home and for me to have to tell him that that the rabbits died, because that would be very sad. Castle Green Lights, that was the one I was using, I think. Oh no, I was using mint green light. So let's add a bit of this into the mix. This kind of fits in with the whole metamorphosis prompt for Scrawler Box as well, doesn't it? So I've drawn out my idea for that. And Steve did say, "Oh, are you going to do that live?" And I said no, because I make far too many mistakes. There's far too many rubbings out that occur, corrections, deciding something's completely not right, and a big rub out happens. And I was like, until I feel a bit more confident in sort of laying down some art quite sort of off the bat kind of thing, then I will just colour in my lives. Yeah, I hope so, Mal. Yeah, today was a hard day. She heard all the pageantry and was like, no. She's done this before, and I kind of force-fed her every few hours some of her nuggets mushed down in some water, and she makes a royal mess. But the water she kind of drinks in, which is important as well to keep the water moving, to keep them hydrated. And then she was fine, like the next day or whatever. So I'm just kind of, I've done that today. Before I hopped on, I put some nuggets in water and force fed her that to kind of try and perk her up a little bit. So I'm hoping, and then obviously she had to clean herself because she was covered in mushy food. So I'm really hoping that encourages her to eat something this afternoon. Yeah, so ones that are outdoors tend to get to about 6-ish, so sort of Buffy's age, and that tends to be it, because rabbits don't adjust to temperatures very well. So when they're outdoors, if you get a sudden cold spell when it's been really warm, or vice versa, it can be really detrimental to them. I was really worried about the heat last year, and I'm really hoping it's not quite as hot this year, because her house is our back porch basically, and she gets up on the side. That's her space. She has a little what was a little box house as part of the cat tree. Is her little box house. She has a toilet tray and everything up there. Then she has cardboard boxes lying around that she can chew on. She can come into the kitchen. She can lie under the desk. She can lie under the table. But she's a complete pain in the ass. So when it's sunny, she will lie out straight in the window. So it's hot in the window anyway. She lies out, clearly very warm, a bit panty, and then I'll put like a gel ice pack that's been in the freezer up on the side for her to lie on, or a big bottle of frozen water, big bottle of ice that she can lie against, and she goes and lies on completely the other side of the room, nowhere near the ice, nowhere near the water. And that's how much of a mare she is. So the fact that we got her through the summer without her getting too hot, I was quite proud of. And so I'm hoping this year it's a bit cooler. But they are really funny. Like I say, if they don't eat for several hours, their stomachs just stop working. And then when they do eat, they can't digest the food. And then they end up dying from that, GI stasis. And I really don't want that to be the case. So I'm keeping an eye on her. She might just be having a stroppy, I don't want to eat anything, I'm in a mood kind of moment. Or she might be genuinely a little bit poorly. And hopefully by hand feeding her and making sure her stomach doesn't stop, she'll feel better tomorrow and we'll just eat away. Do the ferrets actually lie on it though, Paul? Because like I say, Buffy doesn't. Buffy's an asshat. I need to close that because that's not doing anything. I don't know if it does it to anyone else, but when I go live, it doesn't actually do anything in YouTube, in the studio. Everything comes through on my OBS, and I don't know why. I have no idea what colour, like, lunar moths are. Are their eyes meant to be a certain colour? Let's find lunar moth. Okay, so this top stripe should have been more of a purple. So that's good, isn't it? We can probably purple it up a bit. And then their eyes are kind of browny yellow and purple. In fact, this is kind of a mashup. I don't think it's like a full lunar moth. The body's not quite right for it. So although it's got the tails, its body's a little bit off, I think, in terms of lunar moth. Yeah, okay. So, let's look for some sort of purple things. That's one worry, isn't it, Paul? Like, with Buffy, she chews everything, literally everything. So I just really hoped that she wouldn't chew the like sleeve that the ice pack, the gel ice pack went into, to then get to the ice pack itself, because that would not have been good. I'm pretty sure that stuff's toxic to everyone. Excuse me. I'm a tickle in my throat. I'm going to have to take some more water. There we go. Might try and put a line along the bottom of here to kind of create that purple that should be going on. So how are we all getting on with our scrawler sketch prompt and the contents of the Squirrel box. I'm hoping that anyone watching has their April Squirrel box. If you don't and you don't want to know what's in it, you might want to bugger off for 5 minutes, because I'm going to talk about it. But please come back. So, for those that don't get Squirrel box but follow me and see my Squirrel box work, the April one was Faber-Castell watercolour pencils. Now this moth is not meant to be this colour, but I feel we need to put some of this colour in. Faber-Castell watercolour pencils, nice chunky ones, and the prompt is metamorphosis. So obviously a lot of people are doing frogs, butterflies, bees. I've seen some more like personal metamorphosis, phoenix, which is one I did think of when I opened it up. I was like, oh, there's a nice set of colours to work on a phoenix. I'm going to put some of this green back in here, but just really lightly. So I've been working on my interpretation, drew out like a quick sketch the other day. Quite happy with the idea I've come up with, especially as it involves a skull, which I've not drawn skulls for a while, and they are always fun to draw. Love drawing a good skull. So I'm excited to get started on that. Like I said, I wanted to warm my hands up. It's not one of your favourites then, Mal? I do that with boxes that I'm not sold on, kind of thing. So the Copic markers, I love alcohol markers. I really liked the feminine energy prompt, but I could not for the life of me create something that I felt happy with, and I didn't like that paper either. So I did try them on a different paper and was much happier with how they came out on the other paper, but I just couldn't get sort of onto paper what was in my head, and yeah, I just kind of gave up on that. And then I started doing your challenge, Mel. Really enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to another one so I can pick my next supply, because I have so many options for the next supply. The other day had to move the table in the lounge, and I've got a couple of tins underneath that have my chameleon markers in, so that's another one to consider. My chameleon markers, my alcohol markers in general, coloured pencils, graphite, charcoal, watercolours. Yeah, I've got so many options of things that I could use for the single supply, so I'm looking forward to the next one. Yeah, I really liked the box in terms of, it was nice to have Copics again. We had them 2021, but we had the sketch I think they're called, rather than the chows. So the bigger markers. It was nice to try them again, but I didn't like the paper last time, and I didn't like the paper this time. I feel like when we've had markers, other than when we had the Tombos, the paper's just not been right. I absolutely loved the Tombow markers and that marker paper. I thought it was brilliant. That was January 21, I think. But yeah, I kind of used them for a couple of images and then went, no, I'm done. Like I say, picked up your challenge and then used the inks for that. So that's the Artful inks from the Artful ink box, plus the neon orange from the Artful mixed media box, and the acrylic inks we got in a fairly recent Scrawler box. So I just found all the kind of inks that I had. The only thing I didn't use was the alcohol inks that I have, because I would have had to have not done it on my my lounge table, because they make an awful mess and you need a little bit more breathing air. The inks are gorgeous. I actually am really impressed with the Artful ink box. There was a lot more colours than I expected, and they're beautiful to work with. The black Indian ink is just gorgeous. Like, it's so deeply black, so well pigmented, and it's so smooth to use. I've never really used Indian ink, but it makes me want to have like a whole collection of Indian ink. I would really like the Caran d'Ache water-soluble crayons in a Scrawler box soon. I think that would be really fun, as well as pastel pencils, because I really want to try working with some pastel pencils, because some of the pictures I see made with them are just insane, like actually insane. And I would love to have a go, because you can get pastels like pans as well, and this like little padded brush thing to lay down a background, and I'd love to do that. Don't apologise, Paul. More coffee. The Neo colours, yeah. There's so much I'd like to see in Scrawler Box, and I'm sure in time we will see all of it. It's just waiting patiently, and at least it's monthly. I felt like it took forever for us to get April's box. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I didn't really use March's box very much, but it just felt like forever between those two boxes. And I know there's at least 2 weeks before we get the next one, but given how quickly May is going in general, I feel like this isn't going to feel like quite so much of a wait. I can hear my cat. Xander! No! Xander! Oi! Leave her alone, please. She's not feeling very well. Come here. Come on. Come up here. Come and say hi. Come on. If you come up, I'll turn the camera on and you can say hello. Come on. Just leave Buff alone, please. She's not feeling very well. Little pest. Bless him. Yeah, so I'm always excited for Scrawler. Like, as soon as we get one, I want the next one. Which is probably why I end up buying stuff from TK Maxx. and Home Sense because I get impatient and then I get some new things to play with. But yeah, I've done a lot more art. I looked back through my Instagram briefly the other day. So before I started Scrawlerbox, I probably did about maybe 10 pieces of artwork between the ages of 18 and 33, because I got Scrawlerbox 2 years ago, so I was 33. And then last year, I think I added something like 11 pieces of artwork over the year to my Instagram. I probably made a couple more bits than that I just didn't feel comfortable sharing, like they weren't good enough kind of thing. Then this year already, if you think like Mel's challenge was 10 pieces of work, so just in the last month or so I did 10 ink pieces, as well as trying to do every month Scrawlerbox. So far I think I've achieved that. What was January? Oh, January was those pencils, so I did my little Spooder eating his fish. February was the acrylic paints. So I did the breastfeeding picture, which made it to the zine, which was incredibly exciting. So I achieved my 2023 goal of being in the Scrawler zine. My next Scrawler goal is to be a top 3 artist. So we'll see how long that one takes. And then March was the Copic markers, so I did a piece for that one. And then April obviously is the watercolour pencils, and I have my idea for that one. Hey Chris, how are you? This isn't my own drawing, I'd like to point out. This is a colouring book and I'm just colouring. I will at some point draw my own pictures, but this is just a really cool witch colouring book, which was like £4 in the works. And I can just chill out on a live and just colour. Thank you very much, Mel. I was very proud of that piece. I'm not a painter by any means. My skill always lied in sketch, a bit like Paul, kind of like a copy sketch situation. Someone would give me a picture of something, generally skulls, cartoons. I've drawn Wallace and Gromit, I've drawn Baby Groot, started, not finished, The Corpse Bride, a kind of vampire skull, Gomez and Morticia, Stormtrooper.
Hey everyone, this is Soundro. I hope you enjoy using my tracks. If you like what you hear,
what else I've
go
drawn.
premium today.
Not a lot more,
and I promise
not
to
recently.
make lots more tracks just for you.
But that was kind of my strength, was copy sketch, freehand, always freehand. And then I started Scrawlerbox and was introduced to everything. Paints, pens. I think my first Scrawlerbox was acrylic paints, and I still haven't used them because, no, that's a lie. My first box was, I think it was my first box, was the Pitt pens. I think, I can't remember what the prompt was. It might have been something about felines, but it was the Pitt coloured pens, and the artist had all like the stripy line art. It was February 2021. That was my first scrawler box, and I drew the cat, and it looks absolutely terrible, but I used the supplies and it was good. Then the second one I got was the acrylic paints, and I've still not used them. They're still in their little tubey things. They were like little bags. I can't remember who they were by. But they were like red, blue, white. Was it red, blue and white? It might have been another colour. And I didn't really use them. And then I started ordering back boxes because there was a big sale. So I have nearly all of the 2020 boxes because of the sales. But the January box that I just missed out on when I started my subscription with the Tombow alcohol markers was one of my favourites. Like, those markers I love. They're still in a pencil case and I've not pulled them out. Again, another reason why I like your challenges, Mel, is it's encouraged me to kind of delve into my pencil cases and go, ooh. I actually, the other day, so I did like a colour along with Georgette, Naptrapped Art, and she was showing off, I want to say they were Derwent pencils, they weren't Inktense. But I didn't have any Derwent ones, so I went into my pencil case and I pulled out the Poscas from our scrawler box, which are those ones, and I pulled out the Chroma Flows. I think it was Chroma Flows she was using, but just not in these colours, more in these colours. And I used these last Sunday morning to just sit and colour along, or maybe it was Monday, it might have been Monday, to sit and colour along with Georgette, and that was brilliant. Like, to delve into my pencil case and find those pencils that have been there for ages, shall we say, and to colour along, especially as when I got the Poscas, I hadn't really used coloured pencils very much in my artwork at all. So I did one piece, I think, and again I was still very new to scrawler box, so I kind of would pick up the art supplies, do a piece of art, then put them away. I think I did one piece with the Poscas and then put them in the pencil case, and I haven't pulled them out since. So I pulled them out and they're so lovely, and that was really, really fun to just delve into my pencil case and realise I had all this stuff. It wasn't long ago that I pulled out the liquid pencil tubes. Can't remember what I made with that. I did something. I'll have to have a look on my Instagram, whether it made it to my Instagram. But I pulled out the liquid pencil tubes and really enjoyed using them as well. I took my Graphitints watercolours to the woods the other day, used those to paint a picture. So I've kind of been inspired by your prompt, Mel, I think, to pull stuff out and try it again and not be quite so rigid with my plans for my art. So to go, oh, I'm going to art then, or I'm going to art then, or I'm going to create this, or I'm going to, you know, just to kind of play around and see what comes from it. I didn't even take I did take a pencil, but I didn't use a pencil when I went to the woods. I just went straight onto the paper with the paints and painted some trees. And they're not perfect by any means, but it was fun and it was relaxing. And Alfie sat with me and used the watercolour pencils, the same ones that we got this time, but the last box with the green and the brown. He sat with me and used watercolour pencils for the first time and really enjoyed that. So that was really nice. Exactly. You just have to keep going and not revert to what you know and persevere. I think I learned a lot with the ink, in sort of how it moves, how it works on the page, how to work it with water like you would watercolour, how to get kind of the best mixes. There's an element of patience needed, which I don't have. I think some of the work would have been slightly better if I'd been a bit more patient, letting stuff dry and then working back into it. But I just really enjoyed using my inks, having a reason to use them, and the effects I created and found during that time. I was really quite happy with that. The smooth paper does not lend to blending these pencils as nicely as textured would. You almost end up scratching the undercolour off a little bit because it's not being held within the texture of the paper. Thank you very much, Mel. I quite liked them. For a quick little paint anyway. And I like the spot that we found up there. I'd be tempted to go up there again, to the same spot and paint, but not necessarily even what's around me, just paint or colour or draw or just sit even. So yeah, and like Paul said just now, you might not use the products for a while, but you get excited to receive them. And I always swatch them, even if I don't use them properly. I always swatch them to kind of hopefully inspire a piece from the colours that come out of it. And if I don't inspire a piece, to at least start playing and use it. I never just leave a box on the side untouched. I can't do that. I have to open it as soon as it drops. I can't wait. Whatever I'm doing gets stopped. And then I sit down, open it up, read what I've got, eat my sweet sometimes. Sometimes I do save my sweet. Have a read what's in there, go through the zine to see who's made it to the zine, and then I find new people to follow that I haven't already, which was really nice. This month seemed to have a lot of new people in the zine, and that was great because I found several people that I wasn't following that I definitely should have been. Right, before I go in with that yellow, I'm going to do a very quick be right back because I need to go for a pee. So I will be back very, very soon. Okay. I have returned. We'll make that work again. Oh, it didn't work this time. There we go. It's not like I can read, not at all. You can blame Mel, that's fine. My bunny is on the floor over by the cat bowls, and she's just lied there, and I'm a little bit worried about her because she doesn't do that. She doesn't come into the kitchen and lie down. So I'm really hoping she'll perk up a bit later.
Are you muted?
Oh, I didn't put any tones in here. Just put some dark in here. Yes, I don't take particularly long to go to the bathroom, Paul. I know who to blame next time you do start like a mass talk about me though. It'll be Paul's fault. There we go. Don't know how I missed a whole chunk of hair that had no tone added to it whatsoever. I'm just going to use a lighter yellow to try and brighten up some of the areas. In fact, there's not even any tone on here. I just copped out really, didn't I? I just like did half a picture. There we go. Hello, Stephen. You'll just hear a Stephen behind me now. There we go. Brighten a bit up. Mel, clearly. I'm not going to blame Mel. Mel was nice. Mel gave us a challenge. There we go. Right, it's very midsummer. That film is definitely a get in your head, what the hell did I just watch movie. I'm going to take out one of my earbuds so I can actually hear you if you speak to me, Sean. Give us some brows. I think I'm going to have quite a pale skin tone. She feels like a pale person. What have we got going on here? Pale skin tone. Maybe an almond. Let's give it out amongst our pencils. Can't bloody find almonds. That one. No, this one doesn't kind of look like. I think I'm going to have some kind of organisation with this. See that one? Yes, it is. Looks more like a grey, but it's actually not. Maybe Smaller Box can put you in as a challenge, Paul. This month's challenge, Paul. Is she still lie down there, babe?
Yeah, your cat was in
She's moved from where I saw her. Where's she gone?
She's backed up a bit because your cat was in its face.
What, like behind the door?
Yeah.
Oh. An all over almond and then brighten it up. Probably can't even see any colour on this. Looks like there's absolutely nothing on the stream. But I promise there is a bit of tone. I'll do slightly darker ears. Okay, let's get a little bit of the pinky colour. Darker under her neck. I don't think that's true, Paul. I feel like there'll be a box that will just work for you, like especially if we get another like graphite box or something, and then if the prompt can be interpreted as a person, a bit like you interpreted the pink prompt. I feel like you'll do something that will just outshine everybody. I must admit, like, although my goal, like I said, for this year was to get in the zine, it's never like I feel bad if I'm not in it. I always feel really happy for everyone that is in it, and like I said, I like finding new artists to follow on Instagram and stuff like that. And actually, when I first saw that I was in it, I was really excited. Then I saw it was just my name and not my Instagram page, and I was like, oh. And I thought, actually no, I really like that it's my name, because, you know, the Instagram page is just a way of showing off my work, and I could change that handle at any point in time, and I could make it personal to me and put my name into it, or do whatever. So it was really nice that my work was published with like my actual name next to it. Are you making a cheese and pickle sandwich?
Yep.
That smells really good.
You don't eat cheese and pickle?
I do eat cheese and pickle.
Since when?
Since I've always
Since
eaten
I made
cheese and
a
pickle.
sandwich.
No, I do eat cheese and pickle. I don't eat it very often, but I do eat cheese and pickle. Since what? Today, when you're making one and I'm hungry. It's on white bread. You can have the white bread ones. Thank you.
You got the brown bread.
Yeah, there's some on the side. And so you should always cram a pork plate in. This is one thing I've kind of I battle with a little bit when I do the scrawler sketches and the scrawler prompts. Use some cadmium orange, I think. Orange gonna look really wrong? No, I think that's kind of skin tonal. Is that, like I say, my strength lies with the copy sketch stuff, and I could use that to make every scrawler piece, and I could try and be a bit more delicate, shall we say, with some of the stuff, like with the markers. I could try and use them a bit more sketchily, but I've struggled. I kind of want to try and use them like other people use them, more sort of not cartoony, but less of a sketchy, accurate, copy sketchy style. But by doing that with everything, I haven't used any of my copy sketch strengths in a really long time. So that's why I'm trying to incorporate it a little bit into my idea for this month's prompt. Let's find a kind of bluey tone. Because she needs a bit of blue in her skin tone. I forgot where my sentence was going. Oh yeah, so I am trying to incorporate it in this month's prompt, because I feel like I haven't done it for so long that I need to actually take some time. I think I try and rush the prompts a little bit as well. Like, actually, weirdly enough, the breastfeeding one, I sat down on a Saturday or Sunday morning. I kind of decided what I was going to do. Thank you very much, Lee. And I just sat down and decided to paint. And I think I sat there for about 3 hours. Steve sat gaming, I sat painting. Did about 3 hours first thing in the morning. And it came out exactly as I had wanted it to, really. There's a few bits that I look at and think, that's not quite right. But nothing that I kind of think, I really need to fix that. I kind of went, no, I'm going to leave it. That's fine. And that's probably the fastest I've made like a good piece of art, because I kind of rush the prompts a little bit and try and get them done in a couple hours. And then I find that they're not as good as they could be. Like, I haven't put my best into it. So I'm going to try and put some time into this one and try and make it a bit more me. Oh no, I did not want that to be as defined as that is. Let's get a white to try and find that out a bit. The other thing I want to get really badly is a blender pencil. I have a blender pen, but I really want to get a blender pencil. But that's the cool thing, Mel. Like, your ghost cats are like a little signature of you, like Annie's Monsters. In fact, I haven't seen Annie's Monsters for ages. I need to go on Instagram and check that I'm like seeing Annie's posts. I feel like I haven't seen Annie's posts in a long time. And I love seeing those little signature pieces turn up. Like, Georgette's stuff is the bumblebees. And it always, you know, you just know whose work you're looking at by those little signatures.
Hey everyone, this is Soundroll. I hope you enjoy using my tracks. If you like what you hear, go premium today, and I promise to make lots more tracks just for you.
So even if they're like quick pieces, you just know whose they are. So keep doing your cats. I love seeing your cats. I'm exactly the same, Paul. I don't really have an imagination as such. I can't necessarily picture pictures in my head like some people can. There is always a reference photo involved in any of my pieces, but I'll Google the prompt, and sometimes I'll have thought of something outside the box, like that breastfeeding one. I thought of that as what I wanted to do, and then I went and found some sort of prompts to help me build that. So although I sort of worked on the colours myself and things like that, there are a few bits that are ever so slightly different. It is from a reference photo, but I sourced that reference photo from my thoughts on the way on like where I wanted the prompt to go. So it wasn't like I just searched for something and then that picture came up and I went, oh, okay, yeah, I'll work on that. Like, it was actually, I actively sought out a breastfeeding photo and worked from there. So it's quite hard, I think, sometimes to keep or to find a style, then to keep that style with the materials and the prompts that we're given, and then to feel happy with what you've created. It is quite hard to kind of balance everything. Oh, it's so easy to fall back into your comfort zone. I think that the difficulty I have is because I did so little artwork before Scrawlerbox. I hadn't experienced a lot of the materials. I hadn't challenged myself as such. I had just kind of found these pieces that I wanted to create. I had this inspiration, or someone would ask me to create something, and then I'd just go with it. That was that sort of thing. I'm going to give her some really striking eyes. I think like a really striking blue. So when it comes to creating something, I think I find it hard to pick something because none of it fits in. Like, my style has never been organic, if that makes sense. Like, someone said, oh, could you draw me a picture of this? So I found it and drawn it. I haven't thought, oh, I really want to draw a picture of that. I did draw like Baby Groot and the Corpse Bride and stuff just from me wanting to draw something, and the skull that I did several years ago. It's like one of the first pictures on my Instagram. Just because I wanted to draw them. That was, I saw them, wanted to draw them, drew them. But when it comes to a prompt, I have to Google most of the time, 99% of the time, Google the words to start that imagination flowing. Like I say, the only one really that didn't was Organic Origins. That kind of just came to me. That's probably one of the only ones that has ever just kind of come to me. Yeah, I think that's the other thing, isn't it? It's like if you create a signature, you're almost expected to keep that signature going and sometimes that hinders you. And actually this is what I enjoy about Scrawler books. So my signature, I guess, was my ability to copy sketch, and I couldn't do that with everything I got. Like I say, I got pens the first time, and I really did not make a good art piece with that one. But I played around with the pens and actually tried to emulate the artist a little bit more. That was one where initially I thought, oh, we've got this artist, I'm going to make a piece in that artist's style. And I haven't done that for a long time either. I've kind of probably gone a bit more towards my style. But even then, like I say, I don't really have much of a style. It's really hard. And I know I'm like already 2 years down the line, but I still feel very new from a Scrawler box perspective. Like how to use it and get the best out of it. Like when who was it? Her Own Reality was the recent winner, wasn't she, of the Scrawler Star. To see how she uses her style and uses all the pieces to create work in her style, I was like, oh my god, like I need to get to this point. I need to find my kind of niche that I can feed the supplies into that, because her work's just insane. I can't remember who else has got that Scrawler Star thing, but there's someone else that's really good as well. Ghost hamsters. They would be quite cool. I'd like to see a ghost hamster. I'm going to do some pink lips, I think. Not red. It's kind of coral pink. I actually emptied my sharpener a couple of days ago because I realised it was kind of crammed. But it's even things like this picture. I think it's such a beautiful picture, and it's not ridiculously complicated. And if someone said to me, could you draw that? I could draw that. It would be a copy of that. Because imagination wise, I don't have that kind of imagination for this sort of image to just come out of my head. I wish I did, and some people really do. And even with a reference photo, I wouldn't create something like this. It would be a different sort of style. I might pull some of the pink from that into these flowers. So it's really hard. Like, art's one of those things that, like, people think you're either good at it or you're not good at it, and actually it doesn't quite work like that. There's like a real like a whole sort of depth to it almost. Oh, sorry, just punched the mic with my elbow. Yeah, there's this kind of whole depth to art. I remember one of my sisters, when she was younger, asking me to teach her how to do art, and I was like, it's not that simple. Like, I can teach you how to hold a pencil, I can teach you how to use a pencil, I can teach you, you know, what to look for, but when it comes to creating, that's an entirely you thing. Like, how your work comes out is gonna depend on how you see what you're looking at, how you use the supplies. You know, there's a whole host of things. Yeah, I agree with that, Mel. It is like a muscle. You have to keep using it for it to work effectively, and if you're not using it, it kind of switches off almost. I still feel like I'm still being woken up from that art slumber, but this year is definitely been more of a wake up, if that makes sense. So last year was very much a slow awakening, whereas this year I've kind of started really strong. The only thing that's going to slow me down is my uni course has started again, so I do need to pick up the books and put down the pencils a little bit. And I think the best thing for me to do is to create a kind of timetable. So I think evenings during the week will potentially have to be study. There's the odd Saturday that I'll have tutorials and workshops, but it will all be online again this year, because I don't have any tutors near me, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So I'll be able to just kind of get on with those things on a Saturday, and then maybe jump on for a stream after, or stream on a Sunday, or like tomorrow at this time, or sort of about 3ish, is normally when I pick Alfie up. So I thought, well, there's not much on the telly, like post-coronation buzz. I think there's meant to be like a big coronation party thing tonight, isn't there, or something? I think there's bands and singers and stuff, a bit like there was at the Jubilee. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it properly. So I thought, just while people might be at home, wondering what to do with their afternoon, I would jump on for a stream now. And then I'll try and do most weekends. But during the week, I'm going to have to be good. I'm going to have to behave. I think that's amazing, Paul. Like, you literally pump out pictures. It's just insane. You're like a machine. And that's what I've tried doing, is arting every day, which is going to be hard with this, studying during the week. But what I might try and do is obviously work, then do some reading and like some writing, and see how that's going. And then it might be that, that gets to sort of a certain time of the evening and I go, do you know what, I need to be a bit creative now. And I might then sort of create some art to sort of switch off. Yeah, exactly the same, Mel. I was always, I say always, I didn't really discover I was any good at art until I was about 9 years old. Then I did a lot of art. I was always drawing and creating in some way or another. Then it got to art in school, and I was fine with it in normal lessons. It came to GCSEs. And I really didn't like the art teacher for GCSEs. So I didn't take it as a subject. I took it to begin with as like a bit of an after school club. But again, I just couldn't click with the teacher and the students that were doing it. So I didn't finish it as an after school club. And then I decided I wanted to do it at A level. So the teacher I liked had come back. She'd gone on maternity leave. And I said, can I do it? And she said, bring me 3 pieces of recent artwork and I'll let you know. So I did a drawing of... What did I do? I'd already done a drawing of a tiger fairly recently. So I took that in. Then I did a biro sketch of the gears of a bike, and What else did I do? I did something else, I can't remember. And I took them in and she said, yep, it's fine, you can do A-level. So I did A-level art, but I was at a major disadvantage because all the people doing A-level art had done GCSE art. So they knew how it was set out, how you had these kind of project books and coursework stuff, and how the big project worked. Like, they already had that head start. So they could have already been thinking, you know, pre even their A-levels starting, of how they were going to work it, who they were going to study and things like that. And I found it, another thing I always find with art, if it's expected of me, it becomes a chore, it becomes a duty, it becomes a job. That's one reason I've never gone into commission work, because as soon as I'm expected to make something, I can't, or like I don't enjoy it and it becomes a chore. If I'm doing it as a hobby, if I'm doing it for me, I just can get on with it. Like this, I can just sit in colour. In a bit, I can sit and sketch, not a problem. But if I was expected to go and make something, so I've always found, like, I need to be in the right mood, I need to be in the right headspace, I need to have the right like influence, and I need to know what I'm doing with it. I need to know darker one than that, actually. I need to know sort of the kind of idea of what I'm going to create, and so all these people were sort of ahead of me, and I was, like I say, I was always told I was good at art, and even now I'll create something and someone will go, oh, why didn't you do commissions, why didn't you? And I can't do it. It's just, I can't push myself in that way. So people are getting better and better, and doing these amazing pieces, and then I've kind of stagnated at this level. I think Scrawler Box has helped me improve massively, but there's a reason some people are Scrawler stars and ambassadors and things like that, and it's because they create an awful lot more art than I do on a regular basis. They do commission pieces, you know, they have embraced their art, and I just haven't found that balance with work, life, art, study, to really put the time and energy into it. Yeah, I enjoyed art at school, but, and that's a big but, it felt very restrictive. And Steve kind of has this point of view as well. He can draw, but art is subjective. So when you're in a classroom and you're creating artwork and your teacher's like, oh, I don't really like that. Oh, well, that's not very good, is it? Oh, that's, you know, how does that work? How can you possibly grade and, I don't know, like judge artwork to a curriculum created standard and to these grades that are input, because it's subjective. Like, not everyone's going to like what you've created. And I remember my coursework, I think you had to pick like a couple of artists and talk about them as artists and provide some of their work and stuff, create like a portfolio. And then you had to create work in kind of their style. And then, like, your final piece could be in your style, but it had to have, like, there was some kind of theme or something, and it had to speak to them. It had to have some kind of meaning. And I remember, I think I ended up getting a D in art. And I remember thinking, really? I've always been told I'm good at art. I'd like to think I'm good at art. I feel like what I did was good. So why is it a D grade? And granted, our teacher felt that everyone was graded really terribly that year and actually tried to argue for them to regrade. And I don't think she ever got it put through, but she was really unhappy. She felt like everyone had been harshly treated and the grades weren't indicative of people's abilities and stuff like that. But I never took it massively personally, because I've always had that view that you can't, like, how do you grade artwork? Like, something you love, someone else might completely hate, and vice versa. Like, it doesn't feel like a gradable thing to me. But it is what it is. You can hear my bunny moving about. I feel like I either need to go really light or dark in here, because this kind of colour is obviously her hair. I'm not quite sure what to do, and I don't know what colour to do this one. I'm stumped, people, I'm stumped. I'm going to finish these bits and then I'm going to call it a day, because we would have been here for 2 hours, shockingly. Maybe this deeper green blue tone in here. And that's the other thing, Mark, massively, is confidence. And I think it's really hard as that kind of age. You struggle with confidence anyway, or I know a lot of people do. And so if you have created a piece that you're really proud of, and then you submit that and it gets sort of, I don't know the word, I don't know the way to put it, gets kind of ripped to shreds almost and critiqued. I think that's the word I'm looking for. It gets critiqued in such a way that it knocks that confidence. Your art could be fantastic, but you're never gonna excel in it if it's not what the teachers and the tutors and the examiners like and appreciate as art. And it's going to knock you back and slow you down until you get to an age where you kind of go, I couldn't give a shit, I enjoyed making it. I feel like it's a great expression of me. I feel like it, is something that I'm proud of. And until you get to kind of that point where you can do that, it's really hard to have that confidence in your own abilities. Oh, Paul, bless you. Versus assistants at uni, yeah. I don't know if she is. I think it's just you three, my little groupies. But it is a real grey line. Art is a really, I just struggle with it as a subject. Like, I can see when you go to somewhere like university, they kind of allow you to be a little bit more individual, and you can become a bit more of like a modern art kind of person. You can go more down the classical route. I think there's a lot of theory still there, and like studies of artists and their techniques and things like that, but you have that kind of freedom a little bit more. But it's really hard, because when someone doesn't click with what you're doing, how are they meant to help you develop if what you're doing is to the best of your abilities and you're really happy with it and you think, oh, this is fantastic, this is the best work I've ever done, and this person's like, oh, I really don't like this. Like, they can't guide you to do better if their guiding is taking you in a direction that you don't want your art to go in. Exactly that, expressing yourself. And art teachers can't go in and be art teachers unless they can be understanding of the subjectivity of art. I think so, Mark. I definitely think this could go into our Discord ideas, or our podcast ideas on Discord, along with today's discovery of how great we are at major event commentary. Yeah. Art is such a difficult one to create as a subject. I think for me, what has to happen with art is you kind of have to know what you want to do with it. So if you want to become a designer for clothing, then your art needs to be built around that. If you want to become a graphic designer, your art needs to be built around that. Basically, if you're going to get a qualification in art that you're going to take to a university or a college or whatever to say, I want to do this, your art obviously has to speak to that. There'll be no point going to a graphic design college. I'm actually going to put my camera on now and have this discussion. There would be no point going to like a graphic design college and saying, I did art at GCSE or A level and my portfolio is fantastic, and then you show a load of like like Michelangelo style paintings or Picasso style paintings, and your work is stunning, it's absolutely beautiful, but it's fuck all to do with the graphic design course that you're trying to take. You've got a qualification in art, so in terms of being accepted into college, you'll probably get accepted because you've got that qualification. But you kind of need to know the direction you're going to go in for your grade to be relevant to sort of what you want to use it for, if that makes sense. Yeah, exactly. You need to have the opportunity to explore that. So I think art in terms of schools and right up until maybe GCSE needs to be much more project based in different areas. So you have a term on graphic design, you have a term on this, you have a term on that, and then from that you go, okay, I really enjoyed that style, and you have discussions around what jobs you could do with that. So you might be amazing at designing clothes and could go into fashion design. So then when it comes to doing art GCSE and art A level, it's not just kind of do this project on this or do, and the teachers can't like kind of grade you and say, oh, that's D grade, because it could be like a D grade for modern art, but it could be like an A star grade for graphic art. So they need to know what you're using it for to be able to grade you, for your grade to be relevant to where you want to go. Exactly, that's exactly the point. That's a really great way to explain it. I have a language qualification, we need a Polish translator, got a qualification in Spanish. I have Spanish. Like I say, I can speak multiple languages. Fantastic. Come and work for our company. what languages can you speak? I can speak English, and I can speak about 10 sentences of Spanish. I have a B grade at GCSE in Spanish. It would get me into certain courses, but it's probably fucking irrelevant to what I need it for. I have an IT qualification at GCSE, but that IT qualification for my age was being able to use an Excel spreadsheet, being able to use Word, being able to turn a computer on and off, being able to save things correctly. That's about it. That was all that IT qualification was. It's exact. I want an art magic class that is just like that, Mel. The magic of art. But this is where, for me, our current school curriculum lets students down massively. Yes, it is. And actually, I saw something the other day about that, about how someone had looked into our current education system. I think I was watching like a very brief snippet of Steph's Packed Lunch. I think that's what it was. And our education system is hundreds of years old. And it was based around, like Mark said, producing factory workers. Essentially, it was to give people basic skills to go out into the world and actually work throughout the Industrial Revolution. So it was developing mechanics and there's a word and I'll think of it in a minute, but it was developing all of these people that would function well and do a good job in during the Industrial Revolution, beyond the farmers, beyond the housekeepers, beyond all of those kind of things. And we've not moved with the times. So one thing I love about where I work is our curriculum is based around project-based learning. And our students basically come in and they'll say, oh, I love horses. So we'll look at getting them horse riding lessons and horse theory and things like that. And then they'll do projects using their skills and what they love. And we will integrate English, maths, science into that. So you will learn science through a horse's reproductive cycle and growth and all of these kind of things, how its hooves are made, the grass it eats and how, it turns that into oxygen. That's how we're basing our curriculum. Students' classrooms aren't just classrooms, they're not just tables and chairs, they are bean bags, they are sofas, everyone has a laptop. It's that kind of development to engage our students. A lot of us have mental health conditions or ASD, behavioural issues, so they've been kicked out of other schools because they're not wanting to learn. So it is a different approach to encourage those that aren't academic, that can't just sit at a table and absorb that information, to engage those students that struggle. Exactly. So I think we need to take away some of the focus. And also, I was saying to Steve the other day, learning things like Pythagorean theory is great. But for me, that would be higher math. For those that want to do maths and take maths into their jobs and future prospects. And those that get it and understand it. From a young age, half of maths lessons should be focused around life maths, tax, APR, budgeting, how to very basically understand like credits and debits and very basic bookkeeping elements. Stuff that you will use in your everyday life, understanding a bank statement, understanding a pay slip. All of this stuff is beneficial regardless of whether you become a footballer or whether you become a banker. You're still going to need life maths and education. So that's where our education system now needs to be shaken up massively. And we need to go, okay, it's no good just sitting them down with books, pens, pencils and whiteboards. We need to be more practical. We need to be developing a group of people that can code and can help develop new technologies and embrace things like science and mechanics, like you say, audio engineering, arts, crafts, because we're losing that. If you look at today in the coronation, how many people can still create garments that were worn like those today, that they have the robes for the king and the queen? Years and years and years ago, there would have been loads of them, because they would have learnt to sew and things in school. Then they would have decided they liked doing that kind of thing, and there would have been people that could create that kind of stuff. There wouldn't have been loads that obviously worked for the king and the queen, but there would have been loads that could have created it. We don't have that anymore. You look at buildings, cathedrals, stonemasons that created things like that, carvings. We don't have that anymore. We're not going to have those kind of buildings. Yes, okay, we have different development, and the structural engineers that we have now are obviously something that we need, but we're going to lose all of those skills because we're sat in classrooms made to fit in a box. Anyone who's got those thoughts, you look at Elon Musk, you look at Richard Branson, all people that didn't finish school properly and didn't get proper educations and proper qualifications because they weren't academic, but their minds were wandering into these great things and all these great ideas that they've had to kind of pave the way to get there in the best way that they know how. We could have so many more of those kind of people if we stop trying to fit everyone in the same little box. Well, that's your own damn fault, Paul. Exactly. But you shouldn't have to go and find that kind of stuff. And they now insist that you're in full-time education until you're 18. That's fine. But at least create the kind of subjects that allow people to be individual and to explore what's going on in their heads, and stop saying, oh no, that's not in the curriculum. Oh no, that's not something we can think about at this time. Oh no, that's above our current whatever, that's higher this, that's stop. Bring it back a little bit. And I know we can't be completely like wild and outgoing, but we need to allow that. And if you notice a student has a particular aptitude for something, like I used to be good at quite a lot of just basic academic stuff, maths, science, English. If I finished my work early, there were some schools I went to that went, oh great, we'll give you a higher level paper, try this, have a go at that. And I got pushed, but most of the time it was, oh, go and read a book in the corner. And I was reading at a teenage level from about 7 years old, so reading a book in a corner didn't push me in any way, shape or form. And the books that were in the school available for me to read weren't like classic novels or anything. It was blimmin' pants stuff about fairies or footballers, so I think that massive shake-up needs to happen. But until we have the right government that isn't full of those academics that are only sort of considering money and not development and growth and mental health, unfortunately we're kind of going to be stuck. Give us another 50 years and you never know, but at the moment it is what it is. Right, I have a cheese and pickle sandwich sat next to me that smells amazing and I haven't eaten. I have a bunny rabbit that I need to find to make sure she's okay, and I have a scrawler sketch to start playing with. So as we've just hit 2 hours of streaming, amazing, and we finished this much of this lovely lady. I'll try and bring her a bit closer so you can see, because her face colours get a little bit lost. I'm not very good at this camera thing, but she's kind of pretty. I can't move it any further forward because my monitor's there, so turn her around so you can see the kind of colours of the moth. I think we'll call it a day. Oh, Mark, don't even start me on that. My son's the same. And he gets told he needs to read more or do whatever, and he can quite happily pick up books and read them. And although his reading out loud isn't particularly fluent, he takes it in and he understands it. But he was always told they have to quiz on the books to go up levels, and they're only allowed, or more so in primary school, only allowed to take out the books at their level. And they were all like football books, and he hates them. And he was reading Roald Dahl at home. So don't even start me on the reading. Don't. I will be here all day. Thank you, Mel, for being with us and with me and keeping me company. You guys are like my little cheer squad in the background. Hopefully, bit by bit, we'll get more people coming in as they know it's safe. Thank you, Paul. I hope she is too. Thank you so much. I love that you guys come in and just chat with me. I hope it's just something relaxing that you can put on in the background and enjoy. And if you want me to shut up more so you can sort of hear the music and watch the pencils, then tell me. But I quite like just having a chat. No, Mark, it's for another time. We'll have this rant together another time. We'll try not to rant too much on here. We'll have to get the little podcast idea going, and then we can have full-blown ranty chats and change the world on our podcast. One day we'll be viral and we'll have changed the entire education system through ranty podcasts. Right, guys, I'm going to bid you adieu. I'm going to turn my face off because otherwise, when I say bye, it cuts me off at the end. So I'm going to turn my face off and you can just see this until I press end. Enjoy the rest of your weekends. I will chat to you guys in Discord, no doubt. I'm going to enjoy my sandwich and check on my bum. Maybe force feed her some mush. And I will be back on when I can be back on. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Bye bye.